Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
And as we ask how the country can pick up pieces after Thursday's fierce elections that saw shockers and surprises, Honorable Ssemujju, I want us to shift gears and look at the way forward. Is it time now to delve into the certainties, including dialogue, for the sake of the country?
Very difficult. First, I think now with 71% pro-Kremlin.
You rub that in a lot.
Museveni thinks he now has mandate to do things his own way. After his brain has been here for 40 years, do I need to enter it? He now has that mandate that he will be throwing in our faces. You can hear Ofonopono celebrating that for the first time they have won in all the regions. 2016, there are many actors, including my neighbor here, who thought they needed to facilitate a discussion. But also Museveni was very fearful that any disruption would actually cause a problem to the economy.
2016, when Besigye claimed he had won.
Not claim the Besigye won. So there are many people who are persuading Museveni to go into a dialogue. Museveni was not persuaded, but he was worried of the economy. So because of that, he created an impression that actually he was interested in talking. Eventually, he ran away when things had settled down. Yes.
Who ran away?
Museveni ran away. He had accepted everything. There was a time we proposed the former UN Secretary General as a moderator. He said it's okay. Then Mbeki said, so everybody was saying okay. We even had a document drafted. And he accepted all the issues, but he kept demanding that, okay, these issues you are raising are okay, we can deal with them, but I want to meet Besigye.
FDC.
Because
we say Besigye wanted to meet Museveni to resolve the impasse.
I was part of the committee. First of all, people make a mistake. It is not Museveni who demanded for a dialogue. There are different parties, from the Situation Room to religious leaders, Inter-Religious Council, the Elders Forum of Ogora. There was also another group of Nganda. So these different people were the ones approaching both Museveni and Besigye, proposing a dialogue. And I think both of them had accepted. I was part of a committee that we set up at Kasangat, and Museveni set up a committee headed by Rugunda. So the two committees had actually drafted a document, and Museveni said he will sign first. But he said, I need to meet Besigye. So that became Museveni's demand. And
Ssemujju
and I am one of those who told Besigye
refused.
That if you meet, not Ssemujju and
Ssemujju,
if you meet Museveni, this will corrupt. So he will take photographs and he will say things are okay, and then the propaganda machine of the state will start.
So we are where we are because of Besigye's belligerence.
No, I have told you the circumstances. Where we are now, I worry for Uganda. Because the point I made earlier that Museveni would never want to deploy the state in the full view of everybody. He will disguise it. But today I think he has lost shame, so he can pick the money, pick the military, pick everything, and then you have the Nganda group that is cheering. His son, who heads the military, he will congratulate NRM. He will say, now we want to provide logistics. You people have gone through your internal process. So I don't see the appetite on the part of Museveni, because at that time you had the opposition. Today he works with it in his government. DP of Mao is there, the one of Akena is there, I don't know which one else. He prefers working with the opposition in that manner, that you provide them some ministerial, some jobs, but to engage in a constructive dialogue, because in his speech he was saying Nope and this element of Besigye are terrorists, which is the reason I think my brother, the Honorable Mwanga, I went to see him, is detained at Chira, which is the reason he's behind the bars. I saw on this TV that the other deputies of Kyagulanyi are also in jail. Hundreds of our supporters are in prison. So he has identified which opposition to work with and which opposition to crush. And that's where now things are becoming very difficult, because he seems determined that this Sinziggu group and the Kyagulanyi, these ones are terrorists, I must crush them. And he actually said so in his speech. He said, not everybody in opposition is bad, but these ones. So he will want to work with the UPC, he will want to work with the Mao and others, because I think now he's bent on no, I left out FDC deliberately. I don't want to be.
But you pointed and you said, and others.
No, I was just looking in your direction. So that's where we are now. He wants to work with the opposition.
Okay, is there a stalemate at all?
I am actually more worried, because I have kept saying here, this might be the last sort of election that we have in Uganda, where NRM people have organized an election, declared themselves unopposed, removed some opposition for them to be declared, cheated some constituencies, genuinely won others, with the Nganda group taking over. Because in my view, I think this is going to be Museveni's last term and Muhoozi's first term. So it's going to be two people running the country with their groups. This is Muhoozi's first term with his father at 81, and this is going to be Museveni's last term. And Muhoozi is brutal. Maybe Nganda will be the one helping us, because for him, the difference, when Museveni beats you in the morning, he will be setting up a commission of inquiry. When Muhoozi beats you, he will be on social media celebrating. So you have two actors who are going to be running the state. So it's going to be more brutal, it's going to be more repressive than it has ever been. And it has started. I've told you, I went to see Mwanga Chivumbi this morning. Is that Kira, even himself is a victim. If you look at the door of his garage, it has holes. They are shooting through the garage. But the victim now is the one who is behind the bars. As I said, you have two other deputy presidents who are in prison, and hundreds, including the ones who were arrested in the last election. They have never prosecuted them. They are in Kitaria. I have visited some. So you don't know who else is going to be.
Thank you. Honorable Wanyoto, do you agree the country is on the edge in the aftermath of the election?
That's your perception. You even said that there are pieces to be picked. We've just had elections of local council today. On Tuesday, you are going to have another election. You're already talking about elections.
So all is well.
For you, elections, we are just, I think, the ones of the presidential.
No,
I've been listening to you.
His background does not allow him to see things with the clear lenses.
Elections are still continuing. We even have elections
That's
on...
interesting blackmail. Okay, go ahead. Proceed.
We even have elections on the 27th
sham.
of this month. You called me, I was just coming from an election of the mayors and these local government leaders.
So all is well.
So it's not well, but at least the elections are happening. They are fair. You cannot say perfect. But people are electing, and you are undermining a process which is still ongoing, the way you are talking. In your mind, elections were for only the presidential and I think parliamentary. But this country is still running elections.
Yeah, but I'm not undermining that.
Until next week on Tuesday.
I'm drawing a score sheet.
Secondly, I heard you talking about the country being picked in pieces. I do not see any pieces. We are here discussing any... Of course, there are incidents. But on the scale of 100, we can say Uganda has gone through elections, maybe 80% progress. The 20 can be managed case by case.
Okay. Do you see post-election tensions anywhere?
I do not see any.
Where we are now, the leading opposition candidate is in hiding.
He's in the drama. He's in the drama. But
Say that again?
He's in a drama. But even if he was crying, you cannot prevent somebody from crying to his mother if his milk is spilled. Can you? If a child has a cup of milk and drops,
do you concur
and runs to the mother
that?
and runs to the mother crying, can you prevent that child from?
Do you concur with OO on his line?
I am not aware why Honorable Kyagulanyi is in hiding.
For his
because
life, as the CDF base for his head.
Let him come out and go and report to the police for protection. You've just been told that Mwanga Chivumbi is in custody, in police. Let him go to police so that his case is well spelled out, because institutions of governance are working. Now, when you hide, the question is, for how long will you hide?
Well,
and for what reason? Because you can actually go and say, why are there speculations that are being sought for? Can I know the charge sheet? Because one of his colleagues is already there, they are going to produce him before a court of law.
What does it mean to you when a leading opposition candidate hides for his life, flees for his life?
I advise him to come out, because behind him are so many people. Let him come and be the head and the protector of his people.
What does it speak of the state?
Which state now? There's a lot of speculation. If you hear rumors that you are being looked for, why don't you go to the right place and you get protection or be charged? So when you hide, how far can you hide and for how long will you hide?
Is it drama?
I cannot say it's drama. I'm just.
I
cannot
isn't
play.
it anything of serious
Kagwanjala,
concern?
you've just said that the country is in pieces, but I'm here. I drove from a long distance on NBS. I'm talking, and I'm advising that let him come and report, because there's so much he can hide. For how long is he going to hide?
Honorable Anyoto, just to give you a flashback.
And you have just said that we are in pieces. Uganda is in pieces. How do you explain those pieces?
Are you skipping me?
No. I'll
You have just said that the country is in pieces.
Don't worry.
How can you explain
I'm
the
worried.
pieces? Which
Okay.
pieces are you talking about?
How do you...
You are giving an impression that
How do
there
you
has been...
describe the current mood in the country?
It's
after
peaceful. Even today we had elections. It's relatively peaceful. We've had elections today. We're having elections on Tuesday. We've had elections last Thursday where I was participating. And I won the election.
So that's a mark of a peaceful process?
On a balance of scale, it's peaceful.
Honorable Sivambi, how do you gauge the mood in the country in the aftermath of elections? And what
calm.
do you think can be done for the dust to settle?
First of
I'll
all,
come to you.
That we are in
Don't worry.
pieces.
No.
Which pieces?
I take exception.
Simon,
I take exception. You are the moderator, yes. But I think...
You are biased.
as
No, I'm
usual-
balanced.
No. As usual, you are heavily biased. I think
That's
you have
your
you have a narrative you want to drive, and we shall raise it at another level together with you. You have insisted that this election is a sham, which is, you are right to make that assessment.
Did I?
but
Yes, you have...
Did I?
You have
as a panelist,
No, did I? No, I think you're trying to
no.
blackmail me.
No, but said that the country is in
That
pieces.
cannot take me
No.
away.
Which pieces?
when you have visitors,
I'm
when
right.
you have visitors,
I'm
you
right.
should give-
I'm right to take on this biased moderator.
I think I would equally take exception.
No. You
at
can
your
take strong exception. You can
bullish
take,
character.
Yes, you can take strong exception, like
Yes.
I am taking. I think I am right to take on a biased moderator.
Please go ahead.
I'm right to take you on.
Okay,
I'm
it's
right to
okay.
take you on.
It's all right.
First of all, you have insisted more than 100 times on this show that this is a sham election.
Did I?
Yes, you have insisted.
How?
By the questions you have asked.
But I thought these are questions.
By the demeanor. By the demeanor.
You come from the
But
background
no,
of a journalist.
by the
I
posi- no,
thought
by
you can be
the
discerning enough
by the
to
position,
digest questions.
by the position you have taken. Are you suggesting that we should prevent Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi from doing whatever he's doing? If he says he's in hiding,
Okay.
should we prevent
Do you
him?
want to set questions for me?
Should we want?
No, do you want me?
I am
do
simply,
you want me
I am
to take
simply,
your
I am
questions?
simply taking you on.
No, I think you're being
Only
ridiculous.
the,
No.
only the ridiculous,
I can't
only
take
the
this.
ridiculous questions you
No,
are setting.
no. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Honorable Nsibambi, how do you gauge the mood in the country in the aftermath of the election?
yeah. First of all, I'm surprised when Honorable Lydia Wanyoto says everything is okay. Going by what is going on right now, or today, the majority of the people did not turn up to vote. There's a polling station in Nansana, in Wakiso, with over 200 voters, and only 46 turned up to vote. So basically that shows not only voter fatigue, but people are disillusioned. They see no life in elections, and that's very dangerous. Just 3 weeks ago, I got concerned and I approached His Grace Mogalu, the Archbishop, and I said, you cannot just...
Kazimba Mugalu, right?
Kazimba Mugalu. You cannot just abandon the process because you are intimidated or you feel like religious leaders should not get involved. You are the heirs to the prophets and you must guide the process. So he contacted and engaged with the Electoral Commission, with the IGP, and the President himself. I presented my paper about what is going on the two sides of the aisle, even the opposition as such. If you don't have what they call a galley, it was very difficult to even campaign for a day. And that was dangerous. The youth were engaged in coming up with the paramilitary groups. On the other end, you also have the institutions of police and the military waging suppression and anarchy on the population. And I said we cannot go through this process, which is just a one-year process when you have a future and the country as such. I proposed also dialogue. It was not really conceding that you are weak, but we had no alternative in the midst of a dictatorship. So the militarization of politics, commercialization of politics, in Uganda here, if you are a candidate, the minimum you would inject in is about 500 million.
Minimum?
So, minimum. And personally, I also had a gari, which you had to pay for you to go through this kind of process.
What is a gari?
A gari is a paramilitary youth group to protect candidates in the opposition. So you could not blame the opposition when actually they're responding to a crisis created by the state. So he invited the different stakeholders. Those meetings you saw on TV, where you had the IGP, the Electoral Commission, and political parties.
So behind the scenes, Nsibambi is taking on a responsibility.
Yes, as a leader. But ultimately, you realize that we have to accept, and I think for the first time I'm agreeing with Andrew here, that you see, you keep engaging the dictator than fighting the dictator. That's why you're talking about our leaders hiding. Because, you see, we kept giving promises. You have to vote. You have to count. Then
Kalonde.
Then
Kalonde, Kakumi.
Or Kabanje. Now, we don't see even the leaders to go and Kabanja.
Why are they hiding?
So, at this level, we cannot talk of fighting the dictator the same style. The formation has to change.
So you want them to confront brutality in the name of demanding?
Yeah, it is impossible because he's not going to listen. But we must now engage him because he's now elected leader. And then we talk for the future of this country.
So do you want to speak to President Museveni?
Me? I have no problem. I will definitely talk to him because I have now accepted what I saw on the ground. Nsibambi with a little knowledge and power, I cannot confront the dictatorship and change.
Isn't this at the risk of looking like you're betraying your colleagues?
Do I care as long as the outcome will be...
What do you want to tell President Museveni?
Oh, so many things. Commercialization of politics. The militarization of government. The impunity all over, patronage. It's a lot. And then the electoral reforms for us to achieve whatever we want to achieve. I just want to say one thing. On that note, I've already started mobilizing. I have about 70, but I can say 50 to 70 legislators, former legislators, other stakeholders who are not involved in the politics to come up with at least a meeting, and then out of that meeting we write a paper.
That's quite interesting. Honorable Ssemujju, would you tag along?
But you had said Ofono, so...
No, before I get to O. If there is an opportunity to avoid me. No, I'm coming to you.
When he's out of power, I will certainly want to speak to him.
No, now.
No, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but the team is ready. In fact, in 2 weeks, we shall present our paper, policy paper on the matter, going forward. For me, I definitely cannot just say Museveni has done this, but
I think that's suspicious. What do you make
suspicious.
of?
Well, I go back to the question you asked Lydia, and you asked him the tension. I voted at Nganda Church of Uganda for the president on Thursday last week. I drove to Kampala to receive the final results from here. After the declaration of the presidential election results, I drove to Lira. I drove to Kotido. I came down to Kapelebiong, came to Soroti. Yesterday, I voted for the elders who were seeking election into the district councils. I voted in Tororo, Municipal Gardens. This morning, I drove back from Tororo and went to Nganda, and I voted for the district leadership, the chairperson, and I drove to Kampala. I did not meet one roadblock. I did not meet one member. I did not meet one column of police or soldiers until I entered Mukono at Wantoni. Policemen, I think they were like a section, they were like 12 or 14, just marching along the road. And I drove to Kampala. I did not see tension in the country. In all the districts I drove through from Toro this morning, I found polling stations, the schools along the road. The polling station, people were voting. Yes, they were scanty, but people were voting. Where I found highest concentration of people seeking to vote was in Mukono town. We have there a church called the UCC. That's where I found highest concentration, on Kayunga Road. Although people were many, they were calm. I left that place around 3, and I drove to Kampala. I drove around because I had thought that the mayoral race was going to be hectic. But also, I did not notice tension, including down here in Kamocha. I did not notice tension. So I think the tension you are referring to could be localized where you live or where you travel, but it's not generalized. I wish you had, so far, I have not had where people have disrupted electoral process today and yesterday around the country. If it is there, maybe...
So you're not aware of the huge deployments?
The what?
The arrests that are going on?
Arrests are normal occurrences when the police detects that somebody either has committed or is about. I think what is important with those arrests is that we should all demand that the arresting people ought to identify themselves, ought to tell the people they are arresting and the people who are available where they are taking them, and take them to the right gazetted places. I think that's what is important. And when that is not done, surely we should demand accountability. Maybe not from the arresting officers themselves, but from the institutions which we think these arresting people came from.
So anything to do with tensions is
so
just
for me,
hyperbole.
Now, this one of Kyagulanyi, which you want to dwell on, I think having seen the trend of the election results, most likely he had plotted before. Because I don't think he's that stupid not to know that he had lost ground in many places, including his so-called former strongholds in 2021. Particularly if he was going to rely on the noise on social media and the noise of the crowd that is accompanying him and at his polling station. I suspect, that's Chigari, Ssemujju is talking about. I suspect that this hiding in quote and unquote is meant to dramatize, to probably seek sympathy, find a way to explain why he got the marks, the votes, the percentages he has got, and why the country is as calm, almost like a graveyard. That contrary to his dictum, contrary to what he had told the people, that please go and vote, start the vote, march to the streets. He is not seeing that. I think it is in fear and embarrassment of that situation now. That is why he is in hiding. Me, I want to say he is in hiding.
Okay.
And I concur with the leader. A good leader, genuine. If you think that you hear rumors that the police is looking for you, he's now being heard all over the country. Call Archbishop, call a Mufti, call other people and say, I am here, come and move with me. I have heard police is looking for me, or the CDF is looking for me, or whoever is looking for me. I want you to take me to the police station. Let us see if we will be intercepted with those archbishops, those big, wonderful, big people, and we see. Because this is the fellow who had told people that confront the police. Why is he in hiding? If life is so sweet, why is he in hiding? Did he want others to die, shed blood for him? Is that what he wants? So for me, I think it is all. I think
Chagulani's disappearance a
Pardon?
serious matter for the nation?
Which one?
Does his disappearance cause concern to the country?
To the best of my knowledge, it is not. It is not a big issue. That's why the country is moving. You know, there's another man who is squatting in a cell. In this election, we have had 4 months of election. Has the country moved on? When all this drama started in November 2024, many people thought the clouds were coming down. So, this young brother of mine, Kyagulanyi, Uganda is moving, regardless of the mouthpiece you are trying to spin to it. Uganda is moving. And I agree that there are tensions, big and small, to which government and NRM and anybody of seriousness we should pay attention to. And that's why I say, if Honorable Sibambe, who didn't bring this matter when he was a member of parliament, now he has the ability as an ex-member of parliament to galvanize 70. I wish him well, that if he will have ability to bring these 70 to push for a convergence, for conversation.
Is it genuine or sinister?
I don't want to judge Sibambe, but the fact that he has been in parliament for 5 years, and these issues were there, these so-called tensions were there, he never brought those 70. He's doing it now at the exit. Is blood unlikely that is serious? It could be like the other man. Obviously, better later than never. Like the other man who came into government and said, I am going to bring electoral reforms. I have even written a bill at the table. Today, if you ask him, where is that bill? Where is the draft? He's now an MP. So I think it's likely. I don't want to judge Sibambe, but I think it's likely to end that way.
Andrew, do you agree that the country is on the edge? And look at the way we are getting global coverage. Does it really matter?
You want the country to be on edge? You have asked everybody the same question. If a person is on edge, what edge?
The tensions.
Are you
A former
on
presidential candidate is missing and is telling the world how someone is begging for his blood.
The president of Law Society is the next. Is the country on edge?
We need to dialogue.
Maybe Bobby Wade is on edge, but the country is okay. First of all, I don't want to discuss these small things. I want to discuss big strategic things. That how do we go after this election?
Yes.
I am interested in that subject.
The 2016 way?
Yes. Not the 2016 way, because you see, I think that Uganda's opposition has failed to recognize that we are trying to build a democracy, and building a democracy takes a very long time. A democratic system is built on negotiation and compromise. I have a lot of criticism of President Yoweri Museveni, but I find him much more willing to listen to the other party. In fact, when I was on this show here, somebody sent me an article I wrote about something in 2013. Tinyefuza, we wrote an article in The Independent, and Tinyefuza, I think, 2013 or something. Tinyefuza and Elliot Mwina called me to intimidate me. And I told them, okay, I'm not going to tell you who gave me this information from Army High Command. You can call me. Why are you intimidating me with sending me to Luzera? Take me to the city square and shoot me dead. But the next time, Seven called me. I went to State House. We had tea, and he had a conversation with me. I refused to give him his source, and he may have been angry about it, but he did not show it. He agreed. We agreed to disagree. He felt I should reveal my source. I felt I should not reveal my source to him. So I find Seven a more patient, perceptive person. My advice, this blows hot and cold. The opposition need to imagine that after elections, there has to be some dialogue. They don't need to join government, but they can find a way to promote their agenda through the institutions that exist. And talking to a sitting president is part and parcel of their work. In a democracy, you talk to the other side, but for them, they say the other side is a dictator whom they must destroy. And therefore, they undermine the very essence of a democratic process. Now, like Bobby Wine. If I was Bobby Wine, why should he be in hiding? Bobby Wine should concede defeat and say he's willing to have his party is going to participate in parliament. So they recognize that there is a parliament, there is a legitimate government, a legal and legitimate government. They cannot have it both ways. They cannot say there is a brutal dictatorship, at the same time have their members participate in a parliament constituted by an illegal regime, as they call it. They cannot have it both ways. So if they acknowledge that there is a legitimate and legal government in power, they must find ways to work with it. If they believe they cannot be bribed, that is the honest, they should go meet Museveni and not be bribed.
In the Times.
You see,
Do
for
you
them,
find
they
it
say they are
tenable
afraid.
that
So let me tell you.
Museveni can sit with Chagulanyi on the same table? Do
I
you
think so.
fathom that moment, really?
I think so, actually. So let me tell you what happened, because this grandson of mine here was misleading us. So I had conversations with Museveni. Conrad Igutu was having conversations with the Besigye. We were the two go-betweens. Besigye gave the following conditions. There were 5, which I had to take to Museveni. Release all political prisoners. Remember, after the elections, they had arrested a lot of his supporters. Let us have a neutral mediator for this
That was Kofi Annan, right?
No, I tell you, no. Finally, President Mkapa. I personally went to Tanzania and talked to Mkapa, and they accepted. We should have a guarantor. Outcome will be implemented. We talked to the Carter Center in Atlanta. President Jimmy Carter was still alive, the former president of the US. The Carter Center agreed. There should be review of elections. These are his conditions. And we have broad
Audit.
Yes, an audit of the elections. Yes, an audit of the elections. And then Besigye also put a condition that there should be broad participation. So he said churches, the media, civil society, and political parties. Now, Museveni gave those are Besigye's conditions. Museveni gave 4. That first, for these negotiations to take place, Besigye should renounce violence. He should concede defeat in the election because he had sworn himself in as president. He should suspend his protests. And he should admit that he attempted treason. So I took this to Besigye. Besigye rejected all of them.
Denouncing violence?
He said it is constitutional right. Concede defeat, he said he had won. Protests, he said he's not an organizer of protests. People organize, he just leads them. Treason, he has never tried. So Museveni withdrew all of them. So remember now Museveni has Besigye's conditions. On this one, I'll die with
Who of the
Museveni.
two was more forthcoming?
But this I'm telling you, of each and every one of the issues Besigye put, Museveni put as conditions, Besigye rejected them, Museveni accepted the rejection. Now, Besigye was not willing to yield anything on political prisoners. Museveni said, okay, we shall release them. A neutral moderator, we discussed many names, the two of them had to agree. Finally, both of them agreed on President Benjamin Mkapa, a former president of Tanzania. I flew to Dar es Salaam, talked to him, he accepted. A guarant of the outcome of we had to look for a prestigious international organization, the Carter Center in Atlanta, United States. We contacted them. They agreed to be the guarantors. Audit of the elections, Museveni agreed to it. Have broad participation, he agreed to it. Now, but I forgot. On conceding defeat, Museveni amended the condition. Said, okay, let him not concede defeat. Let him recognize that there is a legitimate legal government. Besigye refused the word legitimate. He said, okay, there is a legal government. Besigye said, no, he will not recognize it. Okay, so Museveni asked me, he's going to discuss with you if there is no legal government. In any case, the resolutions of such a dialogue have to be implemented by somebody who must have legal authority to do so. Anyway, he said, let's also remove it. But this, I felt Besigye was going into talks.
So is it Besigye who frustrated talks?
Yes.
No, that's not true.
Besigye, at every twist and turn, made it so difficult because he was not willing to yield. Can I first finish?
Yes.
Besigye was not willing to concede anything. And I tried to explain this when I met Besigye with his wife, and I think he had called people at his home one time when things leaked to the media. I told him that in any negotiation, you are likely to give concessions and make compromises. There must be something so dear you give up for you to get another thing dear dear to you. You are not willing to give anything. And then he said, Museveni is not honest. I said, you see, we can never know the outcome of a process until we have done. So it's better for us to try and fail than fail to try. Let us go into the negotiations. In any case, Museveni had put himself at a strategic disadvantage. NRM was one of the parties to the dialogue, but not the owner party. And the numbers favored Besigye's group.
Should the same scenario play out again?
But this is what I'm coming to.
Quell the tensions.
Because personally, I have realized that Bobi Wine has decided to walk Besigye's footpath. He's following the same script. And that is why he has reached a dead end. And I think that Bobi Wine's political obituary needs to be written now. This country needs his political obituary. He's dead politically. I don't think he can re-emerge. Because he has failed to position himself, an obituary. Yes, when somebody dies, you write. This is not a biological obituary of his physical death. I know. It's a political obituary. It needs to be written. This country needs a politician of the caliber of Raila or the caliber of Mandela, who will have the courage of convictions to say the stability of this country depends on us talking, however much we may disagree, and is willing to spend his political capital. And Bobi Wine had a lot of political capital, now he has lost it. Besigye, at the time when he had political capital, he failed to use it to enter a dialogue with Museveni. Museveni is not a person you can wish away. He's an important instrument in the orchestra of stability of this country and even the region. Anyway.
As we take a break, very fast in a minute, did Besigye frustrate talks? And is the country where it is because of that missed opportunity?
You see, Nganda addresses on Besigye. I said earlier, there are many people who are proposing a dialogue. You need to visit the Ogola group, the Elders Forum, the Interreligious Council, the Situation Room. As a result of those discussions and the Nganda group, we set up a committee, and Besigye was not a member of that committee. I was a member of the committee.
Which group was Nganda representing?
He's here, so do I speak for Nganda?
No, you are part of the process, so you know.
Patriotic citizens
so
of Uganda, yes.
We set up.
You can imagine the intransigency in that committee.
Museveni set up a committee headed by Rugonda. It had Rukutana and it had others. It was actually my proposal. I said, you see, we don't need a physical meeting between us and Museveni. What we need is to outline the issues and then have these people who are the brokers who were moving between us. Eventually, those issues kept exchanging them until when we came up with a document. I remember one time there was even a Swedish minister who came here. They were very excited about a dialogue in Uganda. But I said Museveni was buying time. Museveni thought that, and that's why he was asking Besigye to renounce violence. He thought that we were going to have protests in Kampala and they are going to affect the economy. You see, Museveni has been very steady on the economy. While he will do everything else, he wants the economy, he wants the stability of the economy. So his dialogue was not a dialogue about issues affecting people he's competing with, and he was more interested in creating an environment in which the economy will thrive. So as soon as he was... It isn't. As soon as he realized that actually now there is stability, then he started, after demanding that I must meet Besigye, then he started not being around.
No,
and eventually,
that's not true.
Mwenda, I'm telling you, the document exists.
Yes, yes, but
Museveni
Museveni said, look, the principal person in this dialogue is Besigye. Besigye and I need to meet. Besigye refused to meet Museveni. In fact, on the advice of Ssemujju and Wafula Ogutu. Now, where the whole thing failed there, what I cannot understand is why does Besigye refuse to meet Museveni? I find it strange. A president wants to see you.
And I sympathize with my
Siba.
brother Sivami. His party, the Secretary General and the President, were yesterday in a meeting with Museveni in Kolo. Eventually, they came and made public statements. In all the meetings Museveni has had with the opposition, the first thing, how do I increase your money? It is now I can make it 40. They should even give you areas. That's the language Museveni understands.
Let's take a
You
very
ask
short
you
break,
money, he will-
and finally, when we return, we'll be running the final lap.